Okay, I think
And
we're
welcome,
recording.
everybody.
We're now recording. Yeah, so welcome everyone. It's almost 9:30. Should we wait another few seconds? 9:30. My computer says 9:30. Great. So welcome everyone. And as you can see in the back, please mute your mic. If you don't mute your mic, then everyone will be able to hear what you say. And if you have questions, we want to type them into the chat. There's 4 of us here today, myself, Tracy McManus, Mark Labaco, and Shauna Foster are all here this morning. And I know there's going to be a lot of questions, but we also know that there's a lot of expertise among all the people here. If there are questions that we can't answer and no one has the answers to, we have another session that is going to be on Thursday, and we can follow up with questions then. And I also want people to know that we're open to email. So please, if you have a specific question, please reach out to us. I know Tracy has her email up on the wall. I'll put my email up as well. So please feel free to email us with questions and concerns, because that's what we want to do. We really want to be able to support you in this completely different time.
I do want to add, you guys, thank you for being open to the adventure and to really kind of jump in there and really make things happen. We're seeing a lot of really great ideas and learning happening among teachers and students. So it's a real exciting time, even though it's kind of forced upon us. It's really a great opportunity for all of us to have some lots of learning happening. So thank you for everybody to make that happen.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I guess we should get started here. So again, the first question was from Caitlin Etheridge, and she asked about, can you assign daily lessons on MyMath? And the answer to that one is that you can assign daily lessons on MyMath, and you can, but the limit of what you can do is check and see if students have actually completed the lesson. It's not possible to respond to them in any way, and it's not possible, from my understanding, and please correct me if I'm wrong on anything that I say, but my understanding from talking to teachers is it's also not possible to see how they answered questions, except for on quizzes, which I believe you can get the access on quiz. Mm-hmm. And Dwayne says, regarding MyMath, I looked at the presentation for learning resources. They make it look a lot easier than experience would indicate. Yes, I would agree. I think that I know a lot of us are using MyMath, and I think that there's a couple of things that we're going to have to, I shouldn't say have to, but there's some different ways we can deliver whatever curriculum we're using. And I think that using MyMath in collaboration with another platform like Google Classroom or Zoom or Seesaw or Flipgrid will be more successful, and I think a lot easier.
And there's a question about, should we record a short lesson and then assign math online, like using Zern? And I think that's a great method to use Zern, but still have some face-to-face direct instruction. You can keep your videos as short as just 5 minutes so that the students get a little bit of a mini lesson on the topic that you'll assign through Zern. And if you have not already used Zern, it is on your Clever page under supplemental curriculum, and you can add it to your teacher page by adding a URL. So let me see if I can share my screen. Let's see, that's camera present now.
And folks, you know that if you, Tracy's sharing her screen right now, so if you pin her presentation, then you can see what she is Well, actually, have you done it? Have you shared it yet, Tracy?
I should be now.
Ah, yes. So if you go
What
down and
about now?
in where it says
Okay.
Tracy McManus presentation, it's under T. If you go up to people and pin it, then you can see what she's presenting.
So my Clever looks a little different than yours. I don't have at the top a teacher page, but at the top is where you would have your teacher page resources. And I can add in the right-hand corner here, you have an option that says add by URL. And you can put your Zern page, just copy and paste the URL into your Clever teacher page. And then that's how students can access it. Now your Zern class list, I've made a class with my STEM colleagues. So I have a choice to give my students the same mission, or I can adjust the mission and the lesson they're on based on reports. So once I've given students assignments and I want to look at their tower alerts reports or their pace or progress reports, if I see that a student is really behind or really ahead, I can alter what lesson they're on by clicking on their name and choosing change lesson. And here I can decide maybe they go down a grade level, or maybe they go up a topic compared to the rest of my class. So I highly recommend that we use Zern during this time.
Okay.
Okay.
I just wanted to comment on that what you just said. Zern is one of the programs that you can use to monitor progress, and that's one of the issues I think that one of the shortcomings of the MyMath online curriculum is there's not a very, as far as I can tell, there's no way to actually monitor student progress. So using Zern or Khan Academy or IXL, which is a paid program, or if you're on the Big Ideas platform, those are 4 different ways that you can monitor progress versus just see if students are turning things in. But I also want to just remind people that we're all at a different place in where we're at with this distance learning. So don't put undue pressure on yourself to learn brand new platforms if you're not feeling comfortable doing that right now. I wanted to take a look at a few more of these chat questions. So Dwayne asked, remind me how do students log into MyMath? And it's, unless I'm wrong, it's through Clever, and they would open up their Clever account and click on the MyMath symbol, which I can present. Well, I guess should I present?
Yeah, show us where it is.
Sorry. Everyone's doing a great job of muting their mic, by the way. I just want to say that. It's great. Okay. So if you're at your Clever page, I'm presenting now, by the way, if you need to pin me to see the presentation, but if you're on your Clever page, you log into Clever, and students would do the same thing. You log in through Clever. You have to scroll down a bit, and the MyMath one, sadly, does not say MyMath. It says McGraw-Hill. And this is where you would click, and students would click there as well. And then for teachers, your page would look something like this. And just in case you were interested, you would assign lessons right here using this green button that's got a piece of paper on it. I think that's how we do it. That says worksheets, but I believe that's also how you assign things. Am I wrong? Yeah, I think that's how we would assign. And you would go down here and assign homework, again, using that piece of paper. Oops, no, that's not right. Sorry. Over here, sorry, where it says assign this resource.
Was
Yeah,
that using the settings gear? Is that
the
where you
settings
found that?
gear. Yes, you click
Okay.
on the gear, and there's some different things. You can open the resource, assign this resource. Yes.
And so how would you see students' work if you assigned it? How could they show it to you? Is
Yes, so that's a question I can't answer because I don't have any students in my page. So if teachers know, uh,
um but how would, like, if we use Seesaw or Flipgrid, how could they show it? Is there a way they could show you their answer with a little
oh, you mean
recording?
outside of, oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Yeah. So that's why I think that it would be, if for me, if I was a teacher, I would try to look at some of the other resources, like you could do something live on a Zoom meeting, or you could use Flipgrid or Seesaw or Google Classroom. Let's see, Google Classroom, I'm not sure, but students could definitely show you their work. They could take a picture of their work. They could make a video, a short video of themselves explaining their work, explaining their thinking. So I think there's a lot of possibilities there, but that takes us exploring new platforms. So if we're ready to do that, then that would be a great strategy. And I'm going to unpresent, right? Yeah. Okay. So let's keep going here. Paul Ade says, big ideas for 6th grade. How can I connect big ideas program to Google Classroom? So Paul, I don't have the answer to that. I have to admit, I didn't try to connect it to Google Classroom because I was thinking the big ideas curriculum was really good on its own. So I'll try it. But if you could try it as well, I know that we can drop. Let's see. I'm not sure if you can connect. I don't know the answer. If anyone out there knows if we can connect big ideas to Google Classroom, like assign assign work through Google Classroom. I've never tried it, but I would love to know the answer. That's a really important question. Okay. So
I see a question about, are we allowed to use MobiMax? Are we allowed to use other resources? And so we have a list of recommended resources. If you look at the WCC e-learning page, so I'm going to show that. I'm going to show where to find the math resources on the e-learning page. Okay, so when I go just to the home page of WCC e-learning, I can look under the Teachers tab, and under the Teachers tab, I see resources by content area. I can click on that, and then I see all the different core subjects. And when I choose math, this is a resource page that we've put together that has curriculum ideas, whether it's connected on Clever or not, and support. So like for Zern, there's distance learning webinars and packets that you might want to send to parents. There's Khan Academy, and that goes down as far as pre-K. So I saw some questions about kindergarten and that Zern didn't have every topic you were looking for. It's possible that Khan Academy would. And there's step-by-step videos on how to get started there. And we have other resources all the way down, My Math and different tutorials about how to use My Math, big ideas. So there isn't just one curriculum that we recommend at this time. I think teachers are all over the place with what they were using before and what you're open to start using now. So I would check back into this page. We'll be adding more and more resources as we learn about them. And if you have any ideas for us to add to this page, please let us know.
Tracy, if I can add also, the EdTech coaches have been really pushing at their 10 to 11 meeting with all interested parties. The stuff around free for now programs, and we really are trying to promote some programs that we know are free and are good quality. There's a lot of other stuff out there. If your school already pays for some programs, then great, go for it. But right now, lots of companies are giving us the free stuff now, but then come August, it'll be a different story. So we're really trying to promote some really good quality free stuff that that we can consider using moving forward for the following school year.
Okay. Great. So there's a lot of questions. I wanted to go up. I want to make sure that some people are answering other questions in the chat bar, which is great. So if you have an answer to a question someone's asking, that's fantastic. Miss Cole asked about math applications for kinder for geometry and measurements, and that was answered by Dwayne at the bottom. He was saying, is it possible it's in Zern? So that's a great question, a good answer. I don't know the answer myself. Caitlin was saying that she felt like Zern wasn't something that you could just start with because it used language that her kids didn't know. And then another teacher said the same thing. I've never heard that kind of feedback, but if anybody has an answer to that question, please put that in the chat bar as well, or pipe in. A lot of questions about MobiMax. I'm going to look more into MobiMax. It's not something that I've been researching, but that sounds like a lot of people are using that. And yes, please, Mina had asked who can you contact in the math department. Definitely myself. I put my email behind me on my sign. Tracy has her email behind her on her sign. And you can also contact Mark Labaco or Shauna Foster. If you're like a 6th grade teacher, you could contact LaShauna Foster. Okay. Okay. Trying to respond to some questions here. I think Angela Riley asked a question, can you only assign the homework pages? What about the lesson pages? And I think she's talking about my math, because that's what I showed on the screen. And one of the kind of issues, I think, or one thing we have to be sensitive about when we're using my math is the fact that if you didn't send the student books home with students, I don't think we would want them to have to print anything. That's the first thing. And then can you assign the homework? Can you assign the lesson pages? I believe you can assign the lesson pages. Yeah. I have to go back. I noticed that when I went on there, it looked like only the homework pages were available. So I have to go back and look again.
Yeah, I think I've assigned the actual lesson before, but there still was no way to see the student work. But I could assign it out and they could click it as done, but I still couldn't see their work when they were done. But yeah, I could assign the lesson.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Something I'd like to add about is that you can still have number talks. You could take a problem from your MyMath curriculum and offer it as just a number talk question. So whether you use Google Classroom or Seesaw as your homepage of how you're communicating with your students, you could pose a question that's just one problem for them to think about and explain their thinking, and respond to you in images or words. So one way you can do this is, I'm going to share my screen one more time, that if I have a Seesaw page, so I made a Seesaw page for my STEM class, and I can post a number talk question, just 12 times 5, and give them a note page to respond to. So you can take your My Math questions and use them as a number talk and post this as an activity if you have a Seesaw page or a Google Classroom page. So that's another way you can incorporate My Math work without actually using the textbook.
Great. Yeah, that's something I've been thinking a lot about, is how can we, and this is sort of a next level issue. I think the first issue is, are we assigning work? And are we able to notify parents and teachers, parents and students, that work's been assigned? I think Google Classroom is a great way to do that. I think you could even use a Google Doc. You could have a running doc in your Google Classroom. There's a lot of different ways that you could do that. One thing I wanted to bring up is it would be a really good idea to, at some point, have a parent meeting. If you haven't, I'm sure many teachers have done this already, but if you haven't yet, have a parent meeting. Use a Google Meet or use Zoom to actually talk, meet up with the parents and talk to them about some of the issues that they're having around supporting their children. So assigning work and communicating to parents, I think that's the first step. The second step is going to be to figure out how can we provide assistance and feedback to students. And there's a lot of different ways we can do that using, again, Zoom. I think Zoom is a good communication strategy for group meetings, because you can make groups and you can also control the meetings in a way that you can't do with these Google meetings. So Zoom is a superior meeting platform as far as doing things with your class. And I think that there's a couple of different things you could do to do a successful number talk, or just teach a class and have students respond. And like Tracy said, Flipgrid and Seesaw give you some opportunities to do asynchronous, what's now called asynchronous learning, where you would record something and students could respond to what you've done at their own time. And the next thing I think you have to think about, or at some point we're going to have to think about, how are we monitoring progress and checking for understanding? And so that's why I think we're trying to look at some of the platforms that really give you opportunities to do that. Platforms like Zern and the Big Ideas platform. Khan Academy helps you monitor progress, and an IXL as well, which is paid, although you can do it for free for 30 days right now. So yes. Okay. Tracy, do you want to answer a question? Any questions?
What are the questions? I'm looking through the chat right now. Let's see. I'm not as familiar with MobyMax. I'll have to look into what MobyMax offers. There was a question, where did I put that number talk? I put it on my classwork page on Seesaw. There's a stream, and then there's class assignments. So I did it as adding an assignment. Let's see. If I had a live Zoom meeting with my students, I know that there's a feature to make breakout groups. And so you could even have student discourse in your math class happening around that number talk question if you're hosting a live Zoom meeting with your class. So we're trying to offer activities that they can do at their own time, which is why posting on Google Classroom or Seesaw would leave it for them when they have the time. But if you're able to host sessions with your students live on Zoom, then that's another way you can get students to talk to each other, is assigning breakout groups on Zoom.
Yeah, and that's something that's really great. That I want to say that Meena Chatterjee pointed out that Zoom meetings are not closed caption. And so the Google Hangout meets, I'm going to infer from that are closed caption, which is something I didn't know. And so Google Hangout, if you need closed captioning, then Google Hangout has that. But as Tracy mentioned, Zoom has this great option where you can automatically create groups. You click the button that says, what does it say? I forget the exact word, but you click a button that's on your screen and it just creates groups, and then you can switch them around. You can see them, you can switch them around, and you can pop in on each group and see how they're working, which is a very cool feature. One thing that I think that, yeah, is it breakout groups? Is that what it says? Breakout groups, yeah. Thank you. Yes, and but I wanted to point out that in Zoom, if you're going to use it to do class meetings, you have to create an account, and you go into the settings page, and then you can set up all these things. So you have to enable the breakout group. It's a function you have to enable through your settings page, and that is different from using Zoom on the web, because you can use it just kind of live on the web, you know. So you have to create an account, and then you can invite students into those meetings. I mean, so far, it's a very good platform. I think there are a few potential shortcomings. Like Mina said, it's not closed caption, so that would be something. But the good thing about Zoom is you can control it. You know, you can mute all the students, and they can't unmute themselves. So that's a big advantage to doing a live class through Zoom. And then the second thing would be that you can create groups and have students working on problems in groups.
Something to note about doing Google Meets is that the link you send out is live, whether you're there or not. So if you assign a Google Meet to your students, you might not want to put the code out till a little bit before the meeting, or they could join the meeting without you and be chatting with each other unsupervised. So that's another benefit to Zoom over Google Meet, is the Meet is just open with that code.
Yes, so I think that you're talking about Google Meet, like the one we're in, right, Tracy?
Yeah, the one we're in right now. Anybody could join and chat ahead of time or afterward. Yeah.
So I thought we had done some troubleshooting, and if you were the last person in, like, in other words, if all the students sign out and then you close the meeting, I thought that we had learned that worked, but maybe not. I wanted to bring up one more thing, which is that these, you know, whatever you're doing with your students, if you're using a platform where you can communicate daily, I think it's really exciting for a lot of the students that are participating to have something to check into every day. So one suggestion would be to do a problem of the day every day, to give students a problem of the day as part of their math curriculum, so they can check in, see that they've got something to think about. And if you're using a platform where they can respond, then they can respond to your problem of the day. So Google Classroom or Seesaw or Flipgrid are all opportunities for kids to respond to a single problem that you give them. And it could be something that's formative, that helps you understand, you know, their progress with whatever you're working on.
Chris, can you talk a little bit about potentially those problems of the day being open questions as well, to really embrace different ways of seeing problems?
Definitely, yeah. I mean, so that's something we've talked about a lot. You know, an open problem would be something that has a longer response. You know, more than one way of solving a problem and more than one correct answer. So, for example, if you were doing double digit addition problems, instead of saying what is 10 plus 12, you could say, how many different ways can you make 22? And so that gives students a chance to interact with the work for a lot longer, because if you say something like, how many ways can you make 22, then it allows students to show off their knowledge, and also, you know, once they get the answer there's more work they can do. And that helps you to do some more formative assessment and really see, what does the student know? Where are they? What are their misconceptions? That's going to be, I think, one of the hardest part about this time is finding misconceptions, because we don't have the chance to interact with students in the same way. So really finding out where students are, you know, are where they have a misconception and they don't know they have a misconception. That's going to be a big challenge for us. And as we know, we're all working it out. And I want to encourage teachers to really don't put an undue amount of pressure on yourselves. Keep moving forward in a pace that you feel comfortable, because this is a difficult time. And we didn't volunteer to be distance teachers. We're in the middle of a crisis, so there's a lot of stress. So do your best, and really, serve the students that you're working for, but also don't be too hard on yourselves. Be fair with yourselves, because it's a tough time.
So I see we're already at 10 o'clock. But if you have other questions, please email us, and we'll do this again on Thursday, same time, 9:30, for specific math support.
So Mr. Bedell has brought up the question, can students access MyMath through Clever without passwords or other barriers? Does somebody have a response for that?
Yeah, they can. If they're logged in, they should be able to just go straight through Clever. It's a one-click access.
And thank you, Dwayne, for answering so many questions along the way.
Yeah.
And maybe on Thursday, if we have any teacher volunteers who would love to show us what they're doing or what's working well for them, I would love to be able to show a real teacher's classroom with a live roster, to be able to show other teachers what it looks like to have a class rostered through Zern, or if you're using Seesaw regularly, please let us know. It would be great to show other people on Thursday what it really looks like with a class.
Yeah, part of this time is for teachers to be able to share their expertise as well. So if you have something that you might be able to answer a question on the chat, even by presenting, that would be great as well. So we really want to encourage that.
We hope to see you all on Thursday again. Thanks for coming. And any questions, definitely email us. I got to sign out. I've got to run down to IT. So thank you, everybody. Thank you so much.
Bye, and see you in EdTech office hours.
Oh, yeah. That's right. See you there.
Thanks, everyone. I'll be collecting more of the questions as well on the chat and see if we can get those answered as well. So thank you.
Oh, I have one more thing to say. There's hardly anybody left, but I sent out a survey today. If you already took the survey, you don't have to take it again. Thanks so much.
Ms. Abril, I will look into DLI resources in math. I see that question has come up a few times. I'll make that as a note to myself to see what we can do for DLI classes.
There's a question about MobyMax. Is MobyMax a paid program?
I am not familiar with MobyMax. I will write that down too.
Okay.
Yeah.
And again, what we're really trying to promote is free programs right now. A whole bunch of companies are trying to get us hooked onto stuff that's going to cost us later. So the more stuff that we can stick with free stuff like Zern, Khan Academy, the better. Thanks, Raymond. Thank you, Astrid. Susan, thank you. Thank you, Mina.
Mhm.
Right on, you guys. We'll hope to see you on Thursday. Coaches, if you got a minute to maybe to debrief afterwards.
Yes, I'm around.
I'll shoot you a meet.
Okay.
Thank you.